How are you doing? We're welcome back. This is about hate speech, and it's only the start about it. They've decided the government that they're going to plough ahead with the hate speech, and I will be taking a more in-depth look at it. But among the things I want to see is the need for it, where people are being abused or something because of whatever their race or sexuality is. And we have to remember that in my personal experience, abuse of gay people, coloured people, and that happens with low class gurriers. Gurriers. You go into O'Connell Street, they're not all foreigners there. There's a lot of our own local Dublin and other places. Gougers, half criminals, drug addicts shooting up in their arms, up in alleyways, and all of that with drugs. And those people are not very nice. They would break into your home. They would do awful things. So the thing about them is that they are often very much the ones who give this abuse to these people. And therefore, changing the law just because there are criminal people there that can't be caught is not fair. Now, also, the government would wheel out some person. I'm a black boy here, I'm at school, and they shout at me when I'm going up the street every day, go home, you this, that, and the other, you dirty big old fuzzy head, and all this. And if you look into that, you'll probably find these are the type of people who are doing it. There's very few decent Irish people abusing anybody. So be watching out very much for lies being told by the government that people are being abused verbally and all of that. Now, the other thing it does, it divides people into categories to do with sexual orientation, colour, race, and all of this. And then it issues a protected category. And recently, Mauritius was added to the countries from where protected category status is given. So it's the government bending over backwards to replace you and I as Irish people, and even people who are here legally and all that. They want the 5 million in. Eamon Ryan has made that quite clear. And so that's what's actually coming here. Now, unfortunately, we do not have a referendum on it. There is a provision of the Constitution that guarantees freedom of speech, and it allows the law to impact on that. So if it's challenged in the court, I would say you'd be up to the mercy of the court. Now, I would say that there should be a certain amount of funds left aside for challenges in the court, and if they give me some type of funding, I will take a judicial review, God spares me health, on it. Now, the thing about it is, you have a right to free speech. Where does it start and where does it end? And the government is trying to decide where it starts and where it ends. Okay. Now, one of the big issues is, what is the definition of hate? What is hate? H-R-T-E. Hate. How is that defined? And can you not hate someone? Could the Jewish people who escaped to England during the war by good people who brought them over, are they not at liberty to hate the persecutors of their parents, their mother and father, and maybe siblings who were put in the gas chamber? Should the law dictate that they cannot hate the Nazis for what they did? What is the story now with Gaza and all of that? Can people not have feelings against Israel for what they're doing there and all of this? I don't believe it's a proper way to tell people. It's the thought police. It's the mind police. I could find very easily, I might entice the guards or whoever running this to prosecute me. I might make a very carefully calculated comment publicly that would force them to act, and let's have it out in the court. The other thing would be, when they bring out the hate speech law, the President, Uachtaráin, should refer it to the Supreme Court. I know he won't do it because I think he's woke. If we had a new president, he might, but that won't be in time. The President has the power to do it, and the Council of State can recommend that the President refer it. The other option is for somebody to take a judicial review, and who's going to do that? Who is going to do that? Now, maybe somebody would, some lawyer that feels strongly about this might decide to pick me, because I'd be prepared to go in as a defendant if I had a lawyer there to plead me case. Going up on my own is difficult enough, and doing all the documentation and all that, and have a no note taker and all. It take me 10 or 11 days. Now, if there were no planning problems, no criminality in relation to the planning authorities and Burp and all in Ireland, I would have the time and I'd select this as a hobby and I'd do this one. But I, at a minute's notice, can find myself having to go to Dublin to fight a planning issue, and we have that nearly beat. We have put so much effort into it. We have the state on the hind foot there with the SCA directive. So for me to take on more work and run me farm and everything else, it's a big commitment. What I would be prepared to do probably is to allow some lawyer who wants to do it or somebody to select me, and then if they'll need me in evidence, no better man to talk up in that court. That'd be the ideal situation. I don't know what happens, but I'm against the legislation. I don't feel it's needed. I think it's a desperate attempt to a failed government to, when they can't persuade people by the power of the persuasion, to lock them up. It is unbelievable that a girl reared in Nobber and went to Nobber school presumably and some university and was brought up by Irish parents should be plugging and pushing for a law to put me in prison. That is what is actually happening with Helen McEntee's hate speech bill. And there are other ministers that could have done it. There's the Minister for Health, there's the Minister for Housing, there's several different people, Minister for Communications. I mean, it's a communication. Why does it have to be justice? Wouldn't it suit her better to try and get the guards to investigate crimes? They're not investigating burglaries and all that. Wouldn't she be a lot better off going to attend to that? But that would be doing it the right way. No. When the wokeism gets into a person, it's like learning to ride a bicycle. You never can get rid of it. You always can ride a bike. No matter how you try, you can't get up on a bike and fall off it because you learn it, it's there. And this is what has happened, our woke government. The only good thing about it, and I want to make this very clear, with the referendum, if that was passed, you'd have to have another referendum to take it out. You'd have to get rid of it using another referendum, and the whole thing could be changed by then. With the hate speech bill, all we have to do is get a majority of Dáil Éireann and repeal the whole thing. No doubt about it, the Irish Freedom Party, the National Party, will certainly be saying we'll get rid of it. And I can't understand how there's such unanimity, such agreement among Fine Gael, a traditional conservative party, Fianna Fáil. Now, Sinn Féin, you wouldn't expect that in Bethel, and the lefties. But you'd think there'd be some kick-up to this hate speech bill. There are already calls for government to recognise it's not wanted. The people don't want the government. The people don't want to agree with this government. They voted 71.8% against the advice of the government, and everything about it is corrupt. It's time to drop it, but we have to take it into our heads. They're probably not going to drop it. They're probably not going to drop it. And therefore the options are a court challenge or break the law when it comes out, and that will risk a criminal offence and fight it all the way up to the Supreme Court. If I am to do that, I'd have to consider the wording very, very carefully. It has to be extreme enough to get them to prosecute me, but it can't be so extreme that the court would side with them, with our oppressors, the government. It has to be that way, and that's tricky. If you could think of a clever way out that when, and let it go, be convicted in, we'll say, the district court, and then appeal to the circuit court, and then before it comes up in the circuit court, go to the High Court on a pint of law and make them do it, or get yourself convicted and then get it overturned. Cost them as much trouble as you can. It's not that easy. It's unbelievable that in 2024 this is the problems facing the Irish people, their own government. Comment underneath, folks. Now, I do agree. I did not take out my computer and put up this hate speech bill, but I do undertake, folks, that that will be one of the things I'll do in the very near future. We'll go through it again and just let you know what's in it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Bye.